What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today. Sorry, guys. We are here today with the review for Insecure Season 5, Episode 9. The episode was titled Out. Okay? You guys, Insecure. This is a hard pill for me, right? We got one episode left, and it's the series finale, and I just don't know how this show is going to wrap up, especially with how we ended this week's episode. Oh, God, you guys. Insecure was one of my favorite shows. I love the show. From the first episode that I saw, fell in love with it. Especially when the first episode, when Issa was rapping about Molly's broken pussy. But yeah, this is Insecure, you guys. So before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me a big solid favor by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning your notification bells on, you guys. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Insecure, shall we, you guys? So let's go ahead and talk about the episode. My coffee's starting to get cold, but I've been drinking it since I got back to the crib. So this episode, we see Issa and Nathan. So Issa and Nathan, they're out looking for a crib, right? You guys remember the last episode that Nathan suggested that he and Issa move in together, which I still don't think is a good idea. I still don't see it for Issa and Nathan. I just don't see it for Issa and Nathan. I think Nathan might be a good guy, but Issa and Nathan don't work, right? I just think that it's just like you're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, right? Or however the saying goes, right? So they like the house. My bad, didn't mean to burp in your face. They like the house. It's a 2-bedroom house. If they get mad at each other, it can be an office space, or it can be a cool off room or whatever, right? They were ready to sign, do an application, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I rented this place out 5 minutes ago. Just didn't know how to tell you guys, right?" So then we move over and we see Molly. She's at work, right? So we see her with those other two ladies, and then Tarian comes out, and Tarian looks really down and depressed. And they're like, "What's wrong, Tarian? Like, what did, the boss call you in the office for?" And Molly's like, "Did they offer you full partner? I don't know if it's full partner or if it's just partner, right?" But she said, "Did they offer you partner?" He says, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, a man has been offered partner. You look very solemn." So Molly was like, she hugs on him, and then she's like, "Oh shit, like, y'all get in, come on, hug this man, hug this brother," right? So then Molly and Torian left, and the other two women were like, "Are they fucking?" They were like, they did flip fucking, right? So then we'll move over and we'll talk about Lawrence, right? So we see Lawrence. So Lawrence is over at Chad's crib, right? And Lawrence is looking at, some listings, but I was kind of confused why Lawrence was looking at the listings when Lawrence says he's not, looking to move. What are you looking to listen for, right? So they're talking about this party that Tiffany and Derek are going to be having, right? Because you guys remember, Tiffany and Derek will be moving to Denver. So this is going to be their farewell party. And Lawrence is just kind of on his, he's kind of like not feeling going to this party because Issa's going to be there. And, Derek is like, "Man, you need to go to that party, right? You're friends with Derek." And he's like, "But she's friends with Tiffany." That means nothing. But then, Chad told him, like, when it comes down to you and Issa, it's kind of like you basically gave up on her, which I do believe that Lawrence gave up on Issa. When Issa broke up with him, he just accepted her, right? If you want to be with this girl, if you're in love with this girl, fight for her and fight for your relationship. But he didn't do that. So we're going to pause here, you guys, and we're going to move forward. And I can tell you right now, this review might be one of the shortest because this episode was a little lackluster to me, but let's move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So we are over at Tiffany and Derek's. Actually, it's Tiffany's parents' home where they're having this party, right? So we see everyone show up. We see Issa. She's there with Nathan. We see Molly. She shows up with Tarian. Kelly is there with her girls. Those girls. And, they're talking about the fact that, actually, not Kelly, but Molly was introduced, and that's Tiffany. That's you already know Issa, and then that's Kelly. Kelly is the one that helped me with my parents, estate planning. And I was like, my mom keeps talking about how y'all go on these walks. She's like, "Yeah, Me and your moms, are we cool? She's like, I actually kind of like your mama a little bit better than I do y'all, right? So then she says, well, hey, how about we, tag team, and because we got to deal, I got to do Issa's mom's estate. So how about we do that together? He's like, yeah, please don't make friends with mama. She's like, too late, girl. We already text. She's like, can you include me on the text on the group chat? She's like, yeah, I don't think she would like that. That was funny. So at one point, Nathan told he got a phone call. So Nathan went off, and then he came back and he told Issa that, hey, Arik, can't find his keys to the shop. So I told Arik to pull up here, and I'll give him my key so he can get into the shop, right? So then Tiffany's like, hey, he brought us a gift, talking to Torian, right? He's like, oh, no, this is trash. Because he started noticing all the kids around. And they were like, so you brought us trash? He's like, nah, let me throw this bullshit. Let me find somewhere to throw this bullshit away, right? Come to find out, it actually wasn't trash. He brought edibles, right? And he felt some type of way when he saw his kids walking around the party. So he was like, yeah, I don't know if this is the place to have edibles around kids, right? So Molly was like, well, how about you and I pop, take an edible, right? To celebrate, you getting partner. So they do it, cheers, and they eat them. I'm like, ooh, I remember the one time I ate an edible. Man, I'm gonna do a story time about that one day. I am gonna do a story time about that edible. That was an experience. Will I ever do it again? Probably not. So let's move on, you guys. Here's what threw me. So they were all talking, and then out of my peripheral, I noticed, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I know you got dang online. We saw Lawrence and Coloring Book together. I was like, oh, he actually brought her and the baby. Okay. So when him and her were, moving around, actually it was just him. He was just looking around. He spotted Issa and Nathan, right? So then one of the waiters comes up to Issa and Nathan, like, mac and cheese balls. That looks so good. I would love to try a mac and cheese ball. Never had one. So she got the mac and cheese ball. She bit hard into that bitch and had to drop it because it was hot. So then she notices Crayon and Nathan, right? Not Nathan. She notices Crayon and Lawrence. Also, Nathan noticed them as well. Then we also see that Amal is there, right? He's talking to, Tiffany. He's like, so you couldn't bring me no gay friend or nothing? She's like, did you meet whatever his name is? And he's like, oh, I'll never forget you. So he went off, right? So we're going to pause and move forward, you guys. So we saw at one point where we at? All right, so Molly and Torian at one point, those two were high as fuck, right? So we see Tiffany and Derek, right? Derek is giving a big up to his Papa squad. That whatever that was that Tiffany said to Issa, I'm like, that was a little Issa, you're Issa basic. I'm like, that's a little shady, Tiffany, but okay. So then, they thanking all their friends, right? And then another person from the past popped up. Bitch, we got Dro. And me and Molly said at the same time, oh shit. Like me and Molly literally said that at the same time. When she said Dro, oh shit. And then I looked at Dro, he's with another woman. I'm like, wait a minute now. Dro, that ain't your wife. What happened with you and her? Because y'all remember, last time we saw them, they had an open relationship. And remember, they were in an open relationship with Molly, but Molly ended that thing, right? I'm like, shit. The only motherfucker we missing at this point is Daniel. Daniel, you gonna hop out of the bush or something? I'm looking like, where's Daniel at? Like, because we got everybody from the past, right? So then at one point, the ladies went in the house, right? And the guys were outside, right? Somehow Torian, they were talking about food, and Torian mentioned barbecue, right? So then Nathan's like, there's really not no good barbecue places out here in LA, right? And they were like, oh yeah, it's some good ones, this place, that place, this place. And then, he was like, well, out there, once you get barbecue from Texas, from the South, you'll have a different outlook, which that is true. Let's be honest. Don't nobody, because I've had barbecue from, when I've been places. Ain't no barbecue like some Southern barbecue. It ain't you can't tell me that you can't tell me. Ain't nobody got nothing, especially a Southerner. The states that I would say who would probably have the best, I would say Georgia and Texas. Because, I mean, our barbecue here is the shit. Yes, the shit. Don't argue with me. It's the shit. It is the shit. So, where are we at? So then at that point, Nathan and Lawrence were having a little bit of a pissing match with each other. I'm like, yeah, this ain't about the barbecue anymore. I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay. I'm like, yeah, this ain't about the barbecue no more. Then we see the girls in the kitchen, right? So they're talking to Tiffany about, going to Denver. She's like, oh, but I'm coming back for Molly's birthday. And Issa's like, okay, well, if you're coming back for Molly's birthday, then your birthday is like a few weeks after hers. So how about we do this? For each other's birthdays, we plan to, meet each other, right? Out of nowhere, Molly's high ass is talking about, birthdays, seeing who got tall, who got short, who has a baby next. And then this fool just starts laughing. And she's laughing hysterically. And that just reminded me of that time that I took that edible. Ooh, I did some shit similar to I did some shit similar to that. But I think my experience was a little bit different from Molly's experience. And Kelly just slapped the fuck out, backhanded her ass, right? And she's like, what the open fuck? And she told her that, she and Torian popped an edible, right? Now, while they talking, who comes into the kitchen? Campfire. Campfire came in there and she just killed the mood. So then, Kelly, Molly, and Tiffany left Issa and Commonwealth to have a conversation, right? And it was the most awkward conversation. I was like, yeah, can we end this conversation? Because I'm a little uncomfortable. So yeah, we're going to pause here, you guys, and we're going to move forward. I think we might go ahead and wrap up the episode. So, Dro, right? So Molly walked outside. She walked into Dro. So we find out that Dro, was his wife named Candace? I believe it. You guys can correct me. I remember Dro's storyline. I just don't remember his wife's name. Because see, anytime I see the girl who played his wife, I always think of her as Janae from the game. That's the only character. I mean, I know she's done other things. I know she's on a Black Lady sketch show. But anytime I see her, she will forever and always be that home-wrecking Janae. I will never forgive her. So yeah, so his mom told Molly that him and her got a divorce, right? He says that they had already had issues in their relationship and that, they had issues and he's moving on, right? So she's like, yeah, your new girl, she seems nice. He's like, yeah, and that guy you with, he says he seems nice. She says, who? Him? Torian is right behind her. And she's like, oh, this is Dro. Dro used to be married. He was in an open relationship. I was a part of that relationship. We ended things, but we good now. Dro's like, oh shit, so we really doing this. Yeah, I'm gonna catch you later, Molly. So Torian, she's like, did they clear it up? He's like, yeah, we all have a pass. So then, where we at now? So let's move back over to Nathan, you guys. So Nathan is in his feelings for whatever reason. I don't understand why Nathan was so in his feelings, right? Because Issa was trying to talk to him because they had a chocolate fountain, right? And they had the macaroons, and he was in his feelings. So then we see Colors, right? And she's talking to Lawrence, and she tells him that she had a conversation with Issa. She doesn't like the uncomfortableness, right? I'm like, but girl, that conversation that you and Issa had was hella uncomfortable. But okay, if it was good for you, it was good for you. She said it was brief, girl. It was beyond brief. So then we see Nathan. So Nathan went out there where Oric was, right? And Nathan told Oric about Lawrence being there. Oric asked, was Molly there? He says, yeah, but she's with somebody. He's like, oh, it's cool. We got this understanding. Excuse me, you guys. Now, Nathan is still in his feelings, and Oric was like, well, shit, if you want, we can go back in there and set that bitch off, right? Like, he can catch a fade. He might catch a fade pretty soon. So then we see Molly and Torian. They high asses. They've been looking for the mac and cheese balls pretty much all night, right? So one dude come up to him. He says, nah, get it, hit it, Tartar. So then they were like, oh, shit. They found the source, right? So then they go in there where all the food is, and they fucked that shit up, right? Then Molly notices that one of the caterers is coming back, right? And she's like, oh shit, somebody's coming. So they run into the pantry, and Molly had a conversation with Torian about, she basically how she mollies up a situation with her relationships, right? But he's like, at first I hated you, but I like you, right? And I'm not going anywhere. So then we see them two, they in the pantry having sex. I was like, you know what? At this point, I'm okay with it. So then we see Lawrence, right? So Issa was throwing some stuff in the trash. And when she came around from the trash can, there was Lawrence. And Lawrence asked her, so why did you call me about a month ago, right? She says, oh, that was a mistake. So he says, so you accidentally called me? She says, no, I called you, but then at the last minute, I realized I shouldn't have done that, right? So then he says to her that, he's been thinking, he understood why she broke up with him at the time, but, because he had a baby on the way. But now things are different. He's in a good space with her, in a good space, right? And he just don't want to leave the night with, out telling Issa how he feels about her. And boy, did he ever do that. He told Issa he still loves her. And Nathan was standing right there, said, what's up with this? He's like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. So then Nathan and Lawrence got into it. I'm like, ooh, I have a question. Who do y'all think will win the fight between Nathan and Lawrence? My money is on. Oh, who is my money on? Because Lawrence don't give me he can fight. Lawrence doesn't give me the vibe that he can fight, but neither does Nathan. They give me the vibe of they'll slap fight or windmill. They give me those vibes. So I'm going to say neither one of them. I'm going to say the ground would win. But that's actually, you guys, where the episode ended. Now I will say, Nathan, you was dead ass wrong when you hollered at Issa and she felt some type of way about that. Will that be a way to push her back over there to Lawrence? We shall see. But that's the episode, you guys. Please let me know what you guys thought about this episode. The review is a little bit longer than what I expected. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else, and share the video. Until the next one, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.